Much to track and field enthusiasts and sports fans' chagrin, Devon Allen was disqualified from the 110-meter hurdles final at the World Athletics Championship in Oregon this July, and this decision sparked a series of angry debates online amongst sports fans and athletes alike. So what really went down, and how will this impact the athlete's future? Let's get into it. First up, the series of events that led up to the disqualification. The reason Allen was disqualified was that he apparently made a false start, leaving the starting blocks too early. This is on its own a subject of debate among sports fans all over the world, since this was determined by the sensors in the starting blocks. These sensors measure each runner's reaction time, i.e. the amount of time it takes for a runner's foot to lift off the block once the starting gun goes off. And of course, leaving the block before the gun goes off would qualify for a false start and lead to immediate disqualification. Simple as that. In Allen's case, however, things weren't that clear-cut. There is yet another rule that states that if a runner leaves the starting block within 0.1 seconds after the starting gun sounds, it will also count as a false start. The reasoning behind this? That no human being could possibly react to the gun so fast. This rule is what ultimately led to the disqualification of Allen. The star runner left the block 0.99 seconds after the starting gun sounded. And guess what? That's 1,000th of a second too fast, according to the rule. As absurd as it sounds, the runner was given a red card almost immediately and stayed at the starting line to look at the replay on an infield monitor, but to no avail. He had to go back underneath the stadium, and Grant Holloway won the gold medal. Next, what people had to say about Allen's disqualification. Sports fans around the world were appalled by the disqualification. Online debates and discussions centered around how the rule itself did not seem to be fair at all. Fans did not hesitate to bring up how Allen's reaction time has always been incredible. In the semifinals, his reaction time was 0.101 seconds, which, again, is 1,000th of a second above the requirement. Either he got very lucky that one time, or more possibly, he just has extraordinary reflexes and is an extremely talented athlete, which is by far not an unreasonable assumption. After all, starting as a wide receiver in Oregon and trying out with the Philadelphia Eagles are two giant feats under his belt. It's more likely that his reflexes simply don't match with his fellow runners because of his uncanny ability. Right after his disqualification, boos resonated from the stands, with the audience shocked and disappointed. Not long after, fans took to social media to express their anger, venting about the injustice of the ruling. One fan tweeted about how the ruling was an embarrassment to the sport. Another emphasized that leaving the starting block after the starting gun sounds should be enough of a reason to remain in the race. We'd have to agree, too. When you look at Allen's 0.99 second reaction time, it seems entirely unreasonable to rule him out of the race. A starting time above 0 seconds is all that should be necessary, or is that too much of a simpleton request? Speaking of, let's talk about the starting blocks themselves. Fans also expressed their aversion to the block sensors and how they have ruined some great races ever since their introduction, and for good reason too. These starting blocks have done more harm than good and have become somewhat of a joke in the sports world. In the most ridiculous series of events, the Olympic trials were being held last year in the same Oregon stadium, and the starting blocks proved to be so inefficient that races had to be restarted 9 times in that one day. 9. 5 restarts were in the 110 hurdle race and 4 in the women's 400 hurdle race, all because the starting blocks seemed to be malfunctioning. Thankfully, nobody was disqualified that disastrous day, but what we also don't know is whether the same tech has been used this year. Now for Allen's own reaction to his disqualification. Before we get into the star's disappointment, several fans expressed confusion over Allen not receiving a warning before his disqualification. Prior to 2010, the first false start would simply result in the entire field getting a warning, and the one after that would lead to a DQ. But this rule was changed in 2010 due to several athletes taking advantage of it, with false starts becoming too common and slowing down the progression of the track meets. The first victim of this new rule was none other than world-famous and fan-favorite Usain Bolt. His false start at the 2011 World Championships resulted in him having to give up his chance at the 100-meter title. Anyways, back to Allen. The star, once informed of his DQ, pleaded his case with several race officials, but in vain. He wasn't given permission to run the race under protest, and the race began with 6 runners instead of the originally selected 8 finalists. Along with Allen's DQ, Jamaica's Olympic champion, Hansley Parchment, was also forced to sit out of the race because of a leg injury he got during the warm-ups. When interviewed after the race, Allen expressed his surprise after his initial flagging, along with the frustration he felt because he was certain he only reacted once he heard the gun. The runner lamented on the fact that he was 1,000th of a second too quick. Never did he think being fast would be a problem for him. Regrettably, his DQ meant that the US was unable able to sweep the 110-meter hurdles final race. His medal would have been the 10th of the day for them had he been able to participate. Of course, not being permitted to run was the last thing he was expecting. The 27-year-old runner commented on the tough nature of being a track and field athlete, what with having to train the whole year for a singular competition that lasts a mere few seconds. Talk about a make-or-break situation. And of course, the Star-Spangled victories and the rest of the championship. Grant Holloway, the American defending world champion, won the 110-meter hurdles final after crossing the finish line first in 13.03 seconds time. America's Trey Cunningham came second, finishing in 13.08 seconds, while Asier Martinez of Spain finished in third with a time of 13.17 seconds. Without Allen's participation, the Americans still managed to snag 9 medals on home turf on Sunday at the World Championships. Despite the Stars' disappointing exclusion, the day was definitely one for the books, proving to be the best single medal day for a nation at the World's Championship, according to the organizers. The hammer throw was the first U.S. victory of the day, where Brooke Anderson bagged gold and Janie Casanavoid won bronze, and things escalated fast in the night session. America managed to snag 7 medals within 10 minutes. In the women's pole vaulters run, Katie Najat and Sandy Morris finished 1 and 2. Then, of course, came Grant Holloway's 110-meter hurdle victory, with Trey Cunningham finishing second after a slight delay while Allen tried pleading his case to the officials. And that's not all. The U.S. shot putters concluded a podium sweep when Ryan Krauser, Joe Kovacs, and Josh Awatunde snagged gold, silver, and bronze, respectively. Allen would have been the final addition to the collection of medals under America's belt, but his DQ kept him from it. Now, America's got 6 golds and 14 total medals, with the next highest number being 3 each by Ethiopia, Poland, China, and Jamaica. But what's next for Devon Allen? Allen's DQ was more than disappointing, considering his entry to the World Championships has been nothing short of well-deserved. The athlete ran the fastest time of the year and the 3rd fastest time in history, with a 12.84-second finishing time last month at the New York Grand Prix. Not only that, but he's a 2-time Olympic athlete, finishing in 5th place at the 2016 Olympics in Rio and 4th place at the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. However, things aren't all that bleak for the star athlete. Allen's set to shift gears and embark on his next challenge, which is partaking in the Philadelphia Eagles training camp beginning this July 26th. There, he's aiming to make the roster for the team as a 27-year-old rookie. According to the runner, all this disappointment has definitely made him more enthusiastic for success, both on the football field and on the track. The athlete is determined to become the best hurdler in history, confident that he still has the opportunity to achieve nothing less. Not only does he want to play in the NFL as well, but according to him, his ultimate goal for now would be to help the Philadelphia Eagles win a Super Bowl as well. We're nothing but confident that he will come back stronger and quicker than ever before. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Devon Allen's disqualification? Do you think it was fair? Are you looking forward to seeing the star runners come back? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.